want to thank you all for making it to the Realty 411 Santa Barbara Real Estate Investor Association Expo number 7, which means we've done this now 7 years. Hey, we're still alive. I'm Dan Ringwald, the president of the Santa Barbara Real Estate Investor Association, and we normally have meetings about once a month. We've been having them at the Fest Parker. We've decided to come over here because they said, you guys are competing with weddings. Do you realize how much money people put away on weddings? You really want to pay the price for a room at Fest Parker? So Fest Parker's been great, but this actually is kind of nice with the tables. It's a good setting. I think it's going to work well. And we're not going to have to charge people a lot of money to be here, which is really cool. So I like that. Thank you very much for showing up. We'll have people kind of come and go all day long. If you have any questions, I've got lots of flyers and information over here about what we do at Santa BREIA. It's all free online. All the videos are free. It's basically, we're trying to make this as easy for people as possible. So we have Justin Ford here as our first speaker. I want to thank you, Justin, very much for showing up. And I'm going to let you introduce yourself because I'm sure you know a lot more about you than I do.
Yep,
okay?
Absolutely. Yep, thank you
so
much, Dan. Thank you guys for having me today. I appreciate it. Please forgive me. I'm still operating on Eastern time because I'm from Detroit, and so flying in last night, long day at the airport. When I got to the airport, the line was out the door. I've never seen it like that before. They said we had a blackout. Like they weren't letting anybody through security. So I had a 6 a.m. flight to catch to go to Chicago and then to here, and waited in line for literally over an hour. And then as soon as we got on our plane, we waited an hour on the runway because they weren't letting any planes in and out of Chicago. So by the time I was here, although it was noon here, I was already exhausted, and it was just a long day. So thank you guys for having me. My name is Justin Ford, and I am also a real estate investor. I do a lot of different things, and what I'm going to talk to you guys about today is really diversification, right? How many of you guys have ever heard of the term that it's important to have more than one income stream? Raise your hand, right? And how many of you guys know it's very important to have more than one income stream, because if we only have one income stream and that stream dries up, we're in trouble, right? I don't know about you, but I've had an income stream dry up before, and it was no fun. It led to foreclosure, it led to bankruptcy, it led to hard times, right? But I learned from that experience, and it's what really caused me to go down the path that I'm in today. I'm 34 years old, and I'm out of Detroit, Michigan. I'm a real estate broker, a real estate investor, and I'm an entrepreneur, business person, motivational speaker. I travel all over the country, and I speak to investors like you. I speak in high schools to kids. It's a passion of mine, and I love real estate. And so we've got some great things going on back in Detroit. How many of you guys have ever heard of the investments in Detroit? I know outside of Detroit, you always hear the horror stories, but there's a lot of great things going on in Detroit right now, and there's a lot of people investing money in Detroit. Now we have investors from all over the world purchasing property in Detroit, because where else can you buy a $20,000 or $30,000 house, put a renter in there for $800 or $900 and get that type of return? I heard that you can't even really get a $200,000 house where you guys are from here, and that's our average sales price. And so definitely a different market. But I'm going to talk to you guys about today. My team and I, my partner couldn't be here today, but we created an organization called Kingdom Wealth Partners, right? And really our mission through Kingdom Wealth Partners is to build wealth, create an inheritance, and leave a legacy, right? How many of you guys have ever heard of the word inheritance? Raise your hand, right? How many of you guys have ever heard of the word legacy? Raise your hand, right? So I'm married, I have 4 kids. My oldest daughter's 16. She just became a senior, believe it or not. So she'll be a senior next year. I have a 13-year-old, I have a 10-year-old, and a 4-year-old, right? And so when I grew up in a middle class, low income home. My parents were divorced at a very young age, and I wasn't taught about investments. I wasn't taught about wealth. I wasn't taught inheritance or legacy. But once I began to go down a different path and learn things, the importance is not what we do for us here, but it's what we create here that we can actually pass on, right? And so when we talk about building wealth, right, how many of you guys would rather have wealth than not have wealth, right? Raise your hand. And a lot of people say money doesn't make the world go round, but guess what? Having money solves a lot of the problems that you have when you don't have money. So building wealth and having wealth not only for yourself, but to be able to create an inheritance and leave a legacy is very important. How many of you guys have kids? Raise your hand, right? How many of you guys have grandkids? Raise your hand, right? I've learned, and I've heard it said, it's very important for us to not only, do things better than what were done for us, but to create opportunities for our kids and our grandkids so that they can be well off, and better off than us. Sometimes you hear, my partner challenged me one time, he says, Justin, he said, people need to have a vision so big that it's not about their vision, that when they die, their vision dies, but having a vision so big that it gets passed on and it takes the second and the third generation to accomplish, right? We hear some of the big families, right? We've heard of the Rockefellers, we've heard of the Hilton family. Some of these families that have created something, but they've passed it on from generation to generation, right? And so if you guys are here to learn about real estate, or you've already are in real estate, or you're looking to get into real estate, how are you planning and preparing for your investments, right? Because when you're not here, who's going to take over your investments, right? Are you going to create an inheritance, and are you going to leave a legacy for the next generation? Or is it just about what it is you're trying to accomplish now? So hopefully through this presentation, you're going to think a little bit outside of where you are right now, but understand the importance of what you do on a daily basis and what it is you're trying to accomplish is so much bigger than the here and now. Does that make sense? So who is Justin Ford, right? I said I'm a broker. These are just some of my team members. We got an amazing team growing right now in Michigan. And also, we're in the process of opening up Florida. I was just down in Orlando last week. We're in the process of opening up our brokerage. And we've got some great things going on. We're actually going to be expanding our brokerage nationally. We've got a really awesome thing going on. So we're going to be looking for agents all over the country. But I wasn't always a broker. Obviously you have to start out as a real estate agent. And in my first year, I sold 100 homes, which they say is pretty good. But obviously it took a lot of grinding and a lot of hustle and a lot of work to get to 100 deals. And so what I did is I leveraged that. I began to build a team so that I could teach my team and others how to do the same thing, right? I'm also a motivational speaker. As I told you, this is me speaking at a high school down in Cleveland to a group of kids. And what I do is I go into schools and I share with young people the importance of becoming successful, becoming leaders, and really doing more with their lives, right? I work in a lot of underprivileged places. I do a lot of work in the city of Detroit where they don't even understand what an investment is. They don't understand what it means to be successful. And guys, I didn't always start out successful. And so the only way I could really go in and speak to kids and young people about what I share is because I've lived it, right? Things didn't always start out so good for me. I actually dropped out of high school as an honor roll student. I got involved with making some bad decisions, went down the wrong path, started using drugs and alcohol at a very young age. And it caused me to go down a path of, really just not thinking about success or doing something with my life. And the great thing is at 19, I was able to turn my life around, and now I'm doing amazing things with my life, but I have the privilege to be able to share my experiences with young people and go in and challenge young people, because young people, struggle, right? When we were all teenagers, it was a hard time of our lives. We're learning who we are. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do with our lives. And unfortunately, a lot of young people are just getting caught going in the wrong direction. And so I have the privilege to be able to mentor young men and teach them at a very young age about the principles and the successes that I've learned through real estate and investments. I'm also a TV talk show host. How many of you guys are either wrestling fans or watch WWE or follow wrestling at all? One person, two people. Okay, so you guys might not like wrestling in California, but I don't know if you guys know who this is. This guy's huge. He looks big in the picture, but he's even bigger in person. His name is Rhino. Rhino has been a WWE wrestler for 20 years. And again, through my experiences and the successes that I've been able to create as a real estate agent and investor, I've been able to, doors have opened up for me to be able to share again those things. So we have a TV show we call Let's Make It Happen. And what we do is we share with local communities around Detroit. We talk about things. We talk about real estate. We talk about success. We talk about, yes, it may look good on a Thursday night that this guy's in the ring and it looks cool, but most people don't understand the struggle, or the process of success, because if success was easy, guys, everybody would do it, right? If it was easy to be a huge real estate investor, successful, making a lot of money, then everybody would do it. But a lot of times we don't really understand and see the process that people have to go through to get where they are. And so there is a price that you have to pay to be successful in anything that we do, right? I've also authored 4 books. This book right here is Insider Home Selling Secrets You Can't Afford to Miss. This one here is an insider's guide to selling your home that others fail to sell. This one here is Secrets to Selling Your Home Alone for Top Dollar. And this one is basically everything that you need to know when buying your next home. So again, I've done some things, to be able to establish some credibility, to be able to stand in front of groups like you and share, what it is that I do and why that I'm here. But not only that, to be able to help people. And so, like I said, we work with a lot of investors back in Detroit. We have an acquisitions department where we work with a lot of investors who are looking to do different things in the city. And so, but the main reason that I'm here today, guys, is to talk to you guys really about, like I said, diversifying where you currently are, right? Different ways that you can invest, different ways that you guys can make money. How many of you guys have ever heard of the foreign exchange? Raise your hand, right? How many of you guys read the invitation or the printout today and saw that I was going to be speaking on the foreign exchange, right? Okay, great. And if you really don't know what the foreign exchange is, that's why I'm here to share it with you. Now, I own 4 companies, very busy. I'm a husband, I'm a dad, I travel a lot. But when you're a business person and you're business-minded, you understand the power of creating wealth and creating additional income streams, you make time for what's important, right? You make time to be able to create multiple streams of income. And when I seen this opportunity, it blew me away. I didn't know what the foreign exchange was, right? The foreign exchange has been around for a very long time. How many of you guys have a checking or savings account? Raise your hand, okay? I'm not going to ask you how much money you have in there. But if you have money in your checking or savings account, did you know that when your money sits in there, every single bank has a foreign exchange department where they use your money and my money to trade in the foreign exchange. And they make a lot of money in the foreign exchange. The foreign exchange is a $5.4 trillion a day industry. $5.4 trillion a day moves through the foreign exchange, right? And the stock exchange, which is just New York, Forex is global, only $22 billion moves through the New York Stock Exchange. So 22 billion, 5.4 trillion, that's a big difference. And so when I seen what I'm about to show you today, guys, as an investor, as an entrepreneur, as a business person, I was blown away, right? Because I realized something, that there are many, many ways as investors that we can make money and help build our portfolio and help us to diversify our income, but ultimately become that vehicle to get us where we want to go. Everybody's in this room for a reason, right? Okay? It's not really real estate, and it's not really investments, okay? There's a reason why you want to become an investor, or you are an investor, right? Because you realize that real estate is a vehicle that can get you from where you are to where you want to go, right? You have a why, right? Like, why real estate, right? Because it's not real estate, it's what real estate can get you, right, and where you want to go. Whether it's more money, whether it's vacation, whether it's time, whether it's whatever it is, right? Real estate is just a vehicle to get you where it is you ultimately want to go. Just like what I'm about to show you is the foreign exchange or the Forex market is just another vehicle to help get you where it is you want to go. Does that make sense? Is everybody following me? Awesome. So real quick, what I want to do is I just want to play this quick video, and I want to show you guys, just to give you guys a better opportunity to understand. Might need your help.
You got it.
All right, I think,
It's a little tricky.
so here we go. Let's see if I can minimize this and get to the internet. I want to play this video for you guys real quick, just so you guys have an understanding of, even if you don't understand what the foreign exchange is, this is going to give you a visual and an idea. I don't think it might, sounds like it's not, but you know what? So it's playing it, but it's not catching the whole sound. I know you said
Oh,
that
really?
right. Yeah,
So it's got the music, but not the
but
audio.
not the audio, right.
That's
So it might be the
That's a technical challenge beyond my capabilities.
And that's okay, guys, because I can explain it. So basically,
subtitles.
yeah.
Here you go.
Does it have the subtitles? Let me see, I can do that, right? Let's see if it works.
Smart.
There you go.
You're good. You're
All
hired.
right, there it is. Can you guys read it?
Yeah.
There you go.
Thank you.
Good call.
Very good call.
So did that, yes, sir.
So I was gonna ask, what's the least amount we can invest? Well, it looks like $150, so, I think I'm in on that. The big question is, do you have to have a broker to do this? And I certainly would use one,
Yep.
given that I know nothing about this.
Absolutely. All right, so that's back up. So, even though it says 150, there are some brokers that you can actually get in with as little as $100 to trade. Pretty phenomenal stuff. And so, what I want you guys to do right now is think about the money that you're making off of investments or with your current income. I want you to think about it as seed, right? And here's why. You can eat all the fruit, or you can use it as seed to produce much more fruit, okay? The money that you make, you can either spend it, or you can invest it, right? You have the choice, right? Is your money working for you, or are you working for your money, right? Unfortunately, I was taught, like most of us I'm sure, is you work for your money, right? I was never taught about investing or duplicating or getting a return on my money or anything like that until, over the last 10 years. I wish I would have learned young, but the great thing is as I talked about in the beginning of the slide, creating an inheritance and leaving a legacy, my 16-year-old daughter is investing. She's got her first job, she works for Taco Bell, and she's taking her paycheck rather than putting it in a savings account, because we know we don't get a return on putting our money in savings, right? So she's investing it into the foreign exchange, she's investing it into Bitcoin, she's investing it into other things that are actually bringing her more money, right? And if you've never heard of that term, Forex or Bitcoin, those are things I'm telling you right now as investors that you're going to want to know about, because these are just additional ways that you can make money, and it's an amazing opportunity at this time in history to be a part of it, okay? So again, this is a beautiful apple. It looks very good, and when you're hungry or you're just, looking for that quencher, that looks good, okay? We could eat that. But we understand, though, that there's seeds within that apple. There's about 5 seeds in every apple, okay? So we can either eat the apple, throw the core away, or we can take that apple and we can take the seeds out of it, and rather than eating now, we can plant those seeds and eat more later, right? You can take the money that you make now and go buy the car that you want, or go buy the house that you want, or go party, or whatever you think you should be doing with your money, or you can step back and say, well, wait a minute. How about making every single dollar that you have work for you? And that every single dollar that you make is now accountable, right? It has an assignment, right? Because how many of you know, like, even though my daughter, she's in Texas right now at her aunt's, she called me so excited yesterday. I'm like, what are you so excited about? And she takes her Facebook video and she shows me her shoes. She just bought some new Jordans. I'm like, geez, I'm trying to teach you that $150 that you just spent on shoes you could have invested in. She says, Dad, but I'm 16. Okay, I'll give you that one. So she is investing, but she got so excited about those shoes because, when you're young, you want to be cool, you want to fit in, you're worried about what other people think about you. But see, the mindset that I have now is, do I buy a $150 pair of shoes now? Or do I invest it, and then I can make more on the $150, and then as I'm making more, go buy what I want? Does that make sense? Because apples harvested from an average tree can fill 20 boxes, right? That weigh 42 pounds. So the next time you look at an apple, I want you to remember this story that I'm telling you because it should trigger you back. So it's only 10 bucks. It's only $20. It's only $100. Well, guess what? What if that only 20 bucks or only $100 could turn into $1,000 or $5,000, right? Okay? It's all about how we think. Now, how many of you guys have ever heard of the book called Cash Flow Quadrant by Robert Kiyosaki? Now, I know some of you guys have heard of it. Let's be honest. How many of you guys have actually read it? Raise your hand. This guy's honest. Thank you for being honest. Go get the book. You can listen to it on audio. You can actually find it if you just Google Cash Flow Quadrants PDF. You can actually find it free online. Yeah, free, right? It's about 350 pages. So I actually went and printed it off, and it was thick, but I read it. Guys, this right here is what really changed the way that I think about money, and I think about my time, and I think about where I am in life currently, okay? I'll explain it to you, but I promise you guys, if you're investors, if you're looking to make more money and do more with your life, you have to go read this book. I was not a reader. I bought a lot of books, read the first chapter, and then I put it on the shelf, and it sat there forever, okay? But I realized that there is more information and more wealth within books today available to us than ever before. And if we want to learn and we want to grow, we need to read and we need to retrain the way we think. And this was when I read my first book, I read 26 books that first year that I read my first book, because I fell in love with knowledge and information and being able to learn from other people. This book right here breaks down the following. You're either an employee, which is the E quadrant, which means you have a job. You're either self-employed, which means you own a job. You're a business owner where you own a system and people work for you. Or you're like this guy, right? Warren Buffett, and money works for you. Now, I was never a good employee. I got fired from every single job. And that Taco Bell job my daughter works at, that was one of my first jobs too, and they hired and fired me 4 times. Same Taco Bell. I didn't even know that was possible. But they kept bringing me back, but I just was never a good employee, so at the age of like 21, I became self-employed, okay? Because I thought this was where it was at. This is where you live it up, okay? Until I realized, which I'm a hard worker, and I'm sure all of you guys are hard workers too. Hard work is it's a necessity, right? It's necessary. But being a real estate agent and selling 100 homes my first year, I was exhausted. I would literally leave before my kids woke up, and I would come home after my kids went to bed, right? Because how many people know you're meeting with buyers and sellers at nighttime? Because that's when they're home. I would come home, I would literally fall asleep in my suit and my tie, and I'd wake up and my wife's like trying to take my tie off because it's choking me as I'm sleeping. She's trying to take my shoes off, literally, because I'd come home from a long day of work and I would be exhausted and I would fall asleep, right? Now don't get me wrong, I have made a lot more money selling real estate than I ever did working at Taco Bell, okay? There are a lot of great jobs out there, but how many if we just talked and we just said, right, about having multiple streams of income? It's okay if you have a job, but if that's your only stream of income, then we need to talk, okay? Because if your job is no longer available, you walk into the office on Monday, Justin, we got to let you go. Or, Justin, we're closing down. Or something happens to you and you can't work anymore, guys. When this stream dries up, problems happen. And if you have savings, that's great, but who wants to go through their savings and live off of savings, right? And so, when I was over here, this is where your real estate agents are, your doctors are, your lawyers are. It's where the work depends upon you. You're trading hours for dollars, right? How many of you know, do I have any real estate agents in the room? Oh, good. If you don't sell a home, how much do you get paid?
Nothing.
And when you get a nice fat check, because I heard you guys get fat checks here in California, right? 3% of $1 million, that's a nice deal, or 500,000. Those are called luxury deals where we live, okay? So if you make a $15,000 or a $30,000 check, right? You cash it. How many checks do you get after that from that one deal that you just closed?
None.
0, right? Now it's a good sized check, and don't get me wrong, coming from, where I came from and dropping out of high school and all of that, this was good, right? 6 figures a year as a young kid, that's pretty good. But I realized something. I'm like, man, I can't do this forever. I do not want to chase deals the rest of my life. I don't want to do that, right? Because I'd get the big check, the closing would go good, and then boom, time to go find another deal, time to go find another deal. And I don't know about you, but there's a lot of competition in real estate, isn't there, right? And so, again, hard work is good, but I spoke with a group of real estate agents down in Florida last week, and I said, what type of retirement do real estate agents have? There is none, right? Unless you're really saving and investing, there is no retirement. I know real estate agents that are 70 and 80 years old that are still working, still selling houses. I don't know about you, but when I'm that old, I hope I'm chilling on the beach somewhere, under a palm tree and just hanging out, right? That's what I want to do when I'm that old. And so this book really caused me to think about this quadrant right here. And it made me realize that the majority of wealthy people and the majority of people that make a lot of money are on this side right here. They're on this side. And so what I did is I left Keller Williams and I started my own brokerage, right? I've got 4 businesses underneath that umbrella. We have an acquisitions department. We have a property management department. We have a real estate brokerage and a maintenance and construction company, right? And over here, I began to develop a team and put systems in place so that I can build a business that grows that does not depend upon me, right? What are some big businesses? Obviously, we see Ronald McDonald, Starbucks, all your franchises, big businesses. Warren Buffett owns a ton of them. You may not like Donald Trump, but before he became president, a lot of people liked him for his business. He had 400 companies. That's being big business. And how many people know If you own a system or a business, you can travel, and that business and that system works for you regardless if you're there or not, right? I don't know about you, but that's an income stream that I want to have, right? Where I can create systems and businesses where it doesn't depend upon me to be there. Does that make sense? And then we have the investor quadrant, guys. This is where you take that seed and you begin to invest that seed in places, right, that make money for you. How many of you guys own investment homes or properties? Raise your hand, okay? You guys are in this quadrant right here, okay? Because your money is making money for you through real estate. How many of you guys are here because you want to get into real estate? Raise your hand. Awesome. This is a great place to be. And again, you may be here right now, but you don't want to end there, okay? You don't want to end there. And over here it just kind of elaborates on some of the same stuff, okay? Mr. Buffett said this: never depend on a single income. Make investments to create a second source, okay? You have to. You have to. Because jobs today, job security is not good, and there's going to be no such thing as retirement for people my age, especially the millennials. It's all going to be dried up, right? Ask yourself if what you're doing today is getting you closer to where you want to be tomorrow. Everybody in this room has a where I want to be tomorrow vision and story. Doesn't matter how young you are, how old you are, you're here because you want more out of life. You're here because you want more for yourself, and guess what? You deserve more. You deserve more. Every person on this earth deserves more. The difference is the people that achieve more versus the people that never do is they take action. They take action and they do something about it. This is a good one, okay? You have residual bills. Why not have residual income, okay? Your mortgage or your rent is due every single month, whether you want to pay it or not, right? Your phone bill, your gas bill, all of your insurance bills, those are residual, meaning they're still billing you every single month, no matter what, whether you want to pay them or not. How many, and let's be honest, and if you don't want to be, it's okay. How many of you guys in this room either are or want to be a millionaire? Raise your hand, okay? Everybody in this room should, I mean, you can do more when you have more, right? You can help more people. Linda and I were just talking about it because I was